Hey guys, happy Thursday. As promised, today is going to be our full swing lesson, our full swing video. What I'm going to try to do with this though is I'm going to break this down. So over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to add what I'll call layers on top of what we've been talking about this week. As you noticed, probably from the chipping and from the pitching videos, those were very much the basics of the chipping and of the pitching swings. Again, with the full swing, we're going to try to cover the basics. So we won't be taking necessarily 100% full swings today. We're going to be working on what I'll call the foundation of our full swing. I think it's very important that we understand and are able to do the basics and what I'll call the fundamentals or necessities of the golf swing, and then add the layers on top of that that are a lot more complex, little intricacies that are going to make your swing technically better over time. But you got to have that foundation first. It's just like they say, building your house on sand versus building your house on stone. We want to make sure that our basics are really good, and then we'll move on from there. So before we get started with kind of the details of what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to give you guys a little overview of the two things that we're going to talk about. The first thing is going to be our L swing. So how do we do it? What does it mean to take an L swing? I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about it before. We're going to explain that pretty in depth today. We're also going to talk about what our body does while we swing the golf club on a full swing. A lot of these short game shots that we've been hitting so far don't necessarily require us to apply a bunch of power to the golf shot. So we're not really worried about our lower body getting involved to supply that power. Remember, we want to control our distance and control our accuracy. So we keep things simple on those shots. Well, with full swing, we still want to focus on accuracy. We still want to be accurate, but we are going to involve the lower body now. It is probably the most key part of the swing in terms of supplying it with power. I mean, yeah, it's important to swing your arms through and to generate club head speed that way, but a lot of your effortless power is going to come purely from the core and lower body. That's why on Workout Wednesdays, a lot of what we do emphasizes and focuses on those muscle groups. Okay, so those two things, they were L swing, what is it, how are we going to do it, and then our body, our weight transfer. What is our body doing during our golf swing? You'll notice I'm inside my apartment right now. Not ideal for our full swing lesson. We went outside and tried to record. We actually had about 10 minutes of footage. We went back and started watching it, and it's just so windy today that you can't really understand what I'm saying, and it's definitely not enjoyable to sit there and listen to. So we're doing this inside. I encourage you guys to take what I'm talking about out into your yards. Don't do this in the house. I just want you to clearly understand what I'm saying, and we'll kind of go from there. So first thing that I'm holding in my hands right here, this is a Home Depot yardstick. And what this is essentially is a metal, it's a metal pole. It's, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 feet long. It's got a little tip at the end. And what these are used for, outside of my use for it, is you put it at the edge of your driveway. If it snows, then you know kind of where to pull your car in if you can't see the boundaries of your driveway. What I use this for though is an alignment stick. It's a nice straight piece of metal tubing, almost like a golf shaft, and it works really well. You know how I said in our aim and alignment video that your aim and how you set up, that's something that you always have to go back and check. It's not something that you learn and then never have to think about again. You constantly are reassessing. So while we're doing these full swing exercises today, I'm gonna plop one of those down just so I can look and see, are my feet lined up and matching my shoulders, matching my hips, all that good stuff. Okay? So if you don't have one of those, or you can't get out to the store to get one, they're very cheap, by the way. I think they're like $5, $2, something like that. Whereas if you bought an actual golf alignment rod, they're gonna cost like 15 or 20, and it's the same thing. If you don't have one though, take a club that you're not using today and do that. set that bad boy down. You can use that to the same effect. Now that we're set up, we got our alignment rod down. Again, please bear in mind, I don't want you guys doing this in your all's houses, but the wind noise was just too much. So we're gonna make the best of a bad situation here. We're gonna stay flexible. So the mechanics of our L swing. With your alignment rod, and you get set up, I just want to show you what my setup looks like. So I'm right here, and then I'm going to turn my body so you guys can see this a little bit better. So you're set up just like that. From your setup, what I want you guys to do is I want you to swing your club back just like a pitch swing. Remember, we stopped at waist height, and I want you to go just a little bit further. Now, what really changed in that swing? Well, if you'll notice, my left arm's pretty straight here for my pitch swing. All I really did was get the club pointing up to the sky. And if you guys look at this, this is why we call it the L swing, okay? I have a nice straight left arm, club's vertical, close to it, pointing to the sky. It's not straight up and down, okay? It's leaned back a little bit, because if you think about it, we're swinging around our body. We're not swinging up and out here, so we're not going to get the club pointing exactly straight up, but shaft is going to be pointing up, okay? So we have a nice L here. All right, this is going to feel a little bizarre to you unless you have already kind of practiced this, perfected this. I know that for most of the kids that I see and that I work with, this is what I see as a coach. I see swings that get to the club in the right position in terms of how straight up and down it is, but we're real close to our body. Our left arm starts to get a little bend in it. This is not a powerful position. The reason why we try to get back to our L and kind of stretch out this direction, the reason we try to get back to that is because that's a powerful, athletic position to swing from. Okay, this is not. It's going to be super hard for me to generate any power from here. I'm not engaging my core, I'm not engaging my lower body, anything like that. Okay, so we're going to go back, try to hit our L, all right, and then we're going to mirror on the other side. I'm making sure I don't lose my deposit here and hit the ceiling fan. Okay, so L on the backswing, L on the follow through. And you'll notice I'm not really doing anything with my lower body yet. Working on the L's, and then we'll move on from there. That L swing thing, like I said, it can be a little bit difficult, especially if you haven't done it before. So I have a little tip for you guys at home that you can do to help you think about how your club's getting positioned during the golf swing. If you look at all of your clubs, are we in focus? All right. They all have a little hole in the end of the grip. Almost all of them do that because when they put the grips on, that's where the fluid comes out that they use to stick the grips on your clubs. If you take a golf tee and stick it into that hole, push it down a little bit. It might give you a little bit of resistance, but you can get it in there. Now I have a tee sticking out of my club. You guys see that? I picked orange so you guys can see the contrast. Okay? What I want you guys to do is notice at a dress where the tee's pointing. Well, like if I was wearing a belt right now, which I'm not because I'm in quarantine, I'm comfy. If I was wearing a belt right now, that tee would be pointing to my belt buckle. As I go back and complete my L, that tee is now pointing towards the ground. So if we're not getting a good angle on our L, that tee is still pointing this way. So that's a great way for you guys to check your progress at home. Another great way to do that is to record yourself, just like I'm doing right now. Have your mom or dad shoot a little video and see if your L is looking proper. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our weight transfer and how that relates to our L swing. So hopefully you guys are kind of getting the hang of, what this feels like back and forth. I'll turn to the side so that you can get a side view of what I'm talking about. Back to my L, back down to the golf ball, through to my other L. Now that we've done that, we're gonna add another component in. We're gonna add our lower body. Now in a golf swing, the lower body plays a very, very, very important role. The lower body is really what supplies our golf swing with power. Sure, our arms and hands swinging down definitely can add some club head speed to our golf shot, but primarily it's the hips, the legs, the core, the lower body that is supplying that power, that strength. So, what does it do in a golf swing? Well, if we go back to our L, what we should be feeling is our weight shift onto our right side. Now, I think the hardest part about that is that in golf, we're rotating. We're not sliding. And I think so many people get that confused, is that when I say shift your weight to your right side, a lot of people do like that and kick the hips out, slide this direction. What I want you guys to remember is that golf is rotational, not sliding. So weight back to the right side. It might not look like I've moved much, but I've loaded about 60-70% of all my weight onto my right foot, even though I haven't moved my hips. Okay? So back to our L, weights on the right side. As our club comes down to where the ball would be, guess what happens to our weight? Shifts back from the right side, back towards the golf ball. And then as our club goes through, it follows through. So backswing, right side, follow through, left side. If you've played baseball before, a lot of the people that come to us from a baseball background actually have what we call a reverse pivot, which is a mistake in our golf swing that we kind of want to correct as soon as possible, because in baseball, make sure I don't hit my fan again. In baseball, when you swing here, the natural tendency is to kind of fall back onto this right side so that you can loft the ball up into the air, right? And then you might come forward after, but the impact position in baseball is very much like that. Now, I'm not an experienced baseball player, so if you are and you're like, he's totally wrong, I apologize. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know how wrong I am. But that's something we see, and predominantly in baseball and softball players, is when they swing their golf club, they finish back on that right side. We want to eliminate that problem. So my drill for you, we've got the T drill already. My T's still in there, so I can check my L. My drill for you guys, when working on your weight transfer, is when you come back and get to your L, and then come through, let me slide a little this way, come through and get to your other L, I should see the soles on your shoe. Show me some sole. I want to see what the bottom of your sneakers look like. Okay? If you're not getting all the way through to the left side and getting that toe as the only thing on your right foot that's sticking to the ground, getting that foot up in the air, then you're not getting all the way through your golf swing. By the end of the swing, when I come through, my hips, everything should be pointing towards the target, because that's where I want the ball to go. That's where my body's going to end up. So even though we start to the side, as we come through, finish our swing, we're facing where we want the ball to go. All right, guys, so no walk and talk today. Obviously, the wind saw to that. But just a real quick overview of what we talked about, okay? So we talked about two basics of the full swing that before we do anything else, before we start talking about any of the other concepts, let's get these and let's master these. These are so important, and these are gonna help across all the different swings as well. Like, if you can get into a good L position, pitching becomes really natural because your swing that you're taking on your pitch shots is just a little shorter than your L swing. And so when you have that experience to relate it to, it's a lot easier for you to know what it feels like before you ever hit a golf ball. So what I want to talk to you guys though about, as if I'm walking and talking, I can move around a little bit. What I want to talk to you guys about today is the importance of flexibility. Now, I don't mean, I'm not very flexible in this sense. I don't have the best, I can barely reach down and touch my toes. What I mean though is taking a situation, and if it doesn't turn out how you planned on it to, still being okay, still trying your best. Today, for me, is a perfect example. I've mentioned this full swing video in like the last 4 episodes of Tea Time. Was really looking forward to it, excited to get outside, do some full swings, have a bunch of space, and all the footage that we recorded sounded like and I knew that if we uploaded that to YouTube for you guys, it would not be an enjoyable video to watch because of how loud it was. You probably wouldn't have absorbed any of the content because all you hear and see is this wind. So we had to come inside. It's a beautiful day minus the wind. I'd much rather be doing this outside, but we were flexible. I think we still did a great job with how we delivered the message, and you guys were able to hear it a lot better. So we're still happy with the outcome, even though, we spent 45 minutes to an hour planning how this was gonna go, where we were gonna stand outside and all that good stuff. Still ended up with a great result. There's gonna be so many times in your guys' life where you plan for something. Maybe it's a test that you're studying for, maybe it's an event that you're planning for somebody, maybe it's a birthday party, maybe it's something for your job in the future when you have a job. Things very, very seldom go exactly according to plan. You have to be dynamic, you have to be flexible, you have to not let something going wrong or a little hiccup throw you off your game and spiral out of control, because it's very easy to do that. So what I want you guys to try to do is, between now and the next time we see each other, I want you to keep that in mind. How can I be flexible in this situation where we're stuck at home in quarantine? I can't do the stuff that I was planning on doing. I can't go see my friends. How can you introduce flexibility into your lives? Good job, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.